Welcome, Michelle. It's really good to have you.
Good morning. Thank you, Clarence. Thank you so much for having me.
And an invitation, if you want to be part of the conversation, you have any questions for Michelle, you can call on 021-446-0567. WhatsApp messages on 072-567-1567. So you have been nominated for the 40 Under 40 Africa Awards in the manufacturing category, announced on the 18th of Jan. The South African finance expert and leadership professional was shortlisted amongst the 126 nominees for 2020. That's significant, Michelle.
It is. I'm still a little bit in shock, to be honest.
But I just think your generation, millennials, are bringing such exciting new ideas, unencumbered by some of the dirt of the past. If you know, refreshingly free with a more open mind,
100%
to some other people. And I think it's that's manifesting in the workplace more so.
Yes, definitely.
What would you say are your skills that brought you to this nomination?
Wow, that's quite a loaded question. Yeah, so definitely have finance skills. There's no.
Yeah, you have to have that, right? Financial director.
Definitely. There's also.
Is that like a formal qualification as well?
It isn't. I'm a chartered accountant by profession.
Yeah.
And then I've just risen up the ranks to become financial director.
No, but hold on a second. How much time has you spent at university to become a CA?
So depending on what degree you do, it's a 3-year undergraduate or a 4-year undergraduate and an honours degree.
Yeah.
Then there's 3 years of articles.
So we're on 10 years now?
No. That's only 7.
Okay, well, that's reason enough for CAs to wear grey. Why aren't you wearing grey, Michelle?
No, I much prefer blue.
How creative does it get? How creative does it get in the workspace for you?
It actually does become quite creative. I think to be a leader of an organization, you have to be creative, especially in the times that we're living in at the moment. It's not all about finance at the top. It's about leading your organization to greatness, and you have to be agile. You have to be adaptable, and that's the only way to get through things like COVID and, all sorts of other challenges that have been thrown our way recently.
I want to understand that creativity and how specifically it would manifest in the finance industry. You can't really get creative about the numbers, right?
Agreed.
So what are you getting creative about?
It's about other things. So
Is it reprioritizing business?
Yeah, it's about reprioritizing business. It's about strategic direction. It's about being agile and nimble on your feet.
What does that mean? In response to what?
In response to changes. So, for instance, COVID threw us a lot of challenges, and it was every financial director's worst nightmare that was not of their making. So, it was about making sure that your priorities are kept up with and realigned every single day so that, your cash flow is keeping you in the right spaces and you're hiring the right people and looking after your staff. So it's not just, as a financial director, it's not just about finance. It's about other things too. It's about looking after your people. I'm very passionate about that. It's about, making sure that the business has got long-term prospects and growth prospects as well, especially in the South African economy. We want to make sure that we are keeping up to date with everything and we are building and growing our businesses to help the economy.
Yeah. I would imagine you're a chartered accountant, that there's some ethics that binds your professionalism. Tell us about those ethics, because they've been called into question recently.
Definitely have. There's been quite a few scandals going on lately, but it is something that the profession is working very closely on to make sure that, we live by those ethics, because if we don't, it does bring the profession into disrepute. And the South African chartered accountants are really well recognized and really well reputed worldwide. So we don't want to bring that into question. It's about living those ethics day in, day out in everything you do. Are
you saying it's a case of bad apples? Some people are beginning to think that it's a case of following the money rather than the ethics.
Yeah, I think there are some people that do follow that. So I do think that is a problem. But it's not the nature of the accounting profession. The accounting profession is supposed to be ethical. It is what we sign up for. So yeah, following the money is not where we should be going. It's about living those values and being true to those values.
You're not wearing grey. You're not a man. You're a young CA. What are you bringing to the profession?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. I think I'm bringing creativity. I think I'm bringing a little bit of spunk, a little bit of change. But yes, I am living by those typical accounting values while doing that.
I think the question was really directed. It's a male-dominated profession.
Yeah.
Are women breaking in to the extent that they should?
Definitely.
You haven't shied away from it, but I think a lot of men are like, yo, no, leave it for the suits.
No, so it's something that I'm very, very passionate about, is about diversity in the workplace. I believe that is what brings out the best in companies. You know, diversity brings a host of different things to the table, and the more things that you can bring to the table, the more decision, the more opinions and you know, different things that you can bring to the table, the better the decision making tends to be, which results in a better performing organization. So I'm very passionate about it, and there are plenty of female CAs out there.
Yeah, and that's good, and a growing number.
Definitely.
But still not in the boardroom necessarily.
Yes and no. There are a lot of us in the boardroom. These days, accountants are not the only ones in the boardrooms, though.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
how boring. That's a boring meeting. Somebody's asking this question, so I'm going to just repeat it. Hi, Clarence. Can you ask the young achiever exactly how she looks after her people? The thought of corporate finance always brings up thoughts of a negative work environment.
That's quite an interesting question.
It is.
So we place our people very highly. It's one of our core values is to develop our staff. So that's one of the things that we do, is we constantly make sure that we are developing our staff and we're helping them to grow. Because if they don't grow, we don't grow. So that is one thing. And then we listen to our staff. So, you know, we've recently had some requests for the 4-day work.
If they don't grow, we don't grow. Isn't it?
Yes.
If we grow, they grow. Isn't it the other way around?
No.
That's interesting, a take. Okay.
Yeah. It's how your business grows. Your business is made up of your staff. Your staff are your assets. If they grow, the business will directly grow with them.
Well, I think a lot of people must learn from what you're preaching here. Because they will grow if my business grows, but you can grow everything at the same time.
Yes.
I think that's fundamentally what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I must raise the issues that I have with your generation as well.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
You're also known as the selfie generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I fall on the cusp of Gen X and millennial. So
Okay, you're saved. You're a lucky girl. You're on my side of that. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not a selfie person. I am learning how to be a selfie person, because especially with events like this, I think you have to. It's part of memories. So
Yeah, but the research suggests that the selfie generation are developing narcissistic traits as a consequence thereof. And that's going to make the workplace very toxic. That millennials are going to occupy 70% of the workforce by 2030, around the corner. And that increase in narcissistic traits is going to make the workplace very difficult. What do you say about that?
wow, I think that's quite a generalization. I definitely wouldn't.
Well, it's the research. It's research from the States. So it doesn't necessarily apply here, but that kind of research has not been done outside of, and it's research in higher institutions of learning, which suggests a significant shift from empath tendencies to narcissistic tendencies, and they're suggesting that the selfie is one of the reasons for that trend.
Yeah, it's a very interesting trend. I think it's something to just keep an eye out for. So I think you have to constantly be in contact with your staff. You have to you constantly have to kind of integrate yourself with them, and if you do that, you can pick up those things relatively early and act on it. So I think that would be my advice, is to just keep an eye on it going forward.
I want to talk about that leadership style that is required in the future and what departure from the past it represents, and we're going to go there after this little break.
Monday to Friday.
From 9 a.m.
This is Views and News with Clarence Ford.
I'll try that
on
again.
Cape Talk.
I'll try it again and again and again. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, it's 11:22. Still is. My name, Clarence. And of course, we're talking about the 40 under 40 awards, or Africa Awards. Of course, to identify, honor, and celebrate a cross-section of the continent's most influential and accomplished young business leaders. We have one such nominee in the studio. Her name is Michelle Austin. She's Keegor Group's financial director. Again, the 40 under 40 Africa Awards identify, honor, and celebrate a cross-section of the continent's most influential and accomplished young business leaders from a wide range of industries. And Michelle, apparently no stranger to awards. She was recently named Businesswoman of the Year in 2022 Steel and Engineering Industries Federation of South Africa. That's SAFSA in November. Michelle has established herself as a fierce industry leader, demonstrating leadership growth. With the support and devotion of a team, she's determined to continue propelling Keegor Group to new heights. Wow. That's the person I have in the studio. You're talking about nearly a departure from old leadership styles, and I'm trying to understand it. What is this leadership style? What is this leadership style that you represent?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I just want to mention is the previous leadership style. So Keegor was formerly a single company called Leonard Light Industries, and my grandfather bought that business many moons ago.
Okay. So it's in the blood.
It is.
Okay, gotcha.
His leadership style was, you can do anything you want as long as it's my way. So, I am very much not that kind of leader.
And he gave you good foundations off that philosophy, did he not?
It did. It did. It taught me what not to do.
But yeah, sure. But it can't kind of secure the growth. It doesn't kind of promise the growth of the future or the challenge of the future. It brought you to where you are. Great foundations.
Exactly.
But you want to grow it.
Exactly.
And that needs a different attitude.
Exactly.
Okay. Now tell us about that attitude.
So we've already spoken about it quite a lot. But it's about your people. So very, very much believe that it is about developing a skill of being able to influence people. And in a good way, not in a bad way. It's about growing your people, and it's about letting them reach their potential. And if you can do that, the business will take off. Look after itself.
It's about emotional quotient. That's essentially what you're saying.
Yes.
Which is often lacking in the workplace.
Yes.
I want to understand more about these awards, these Africa Awards. So you a nominee. Are you like competing?
Yes.
Do you have to strut your stuff? And
It's not
do you
quite.
have to answer questions? How does it work?
Yeah. So I was nominated. The nominations were closed in December. And then there were a bunch of, so there's 40 different categories.
Yes.
I'm in the manufacturing category, and there's two of us that are competing head against
So
one
you
another.
would be, if it's Oscars, you would be like producer category, right?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are others in that category?
Yeah, so there's two of us that are vying
Okay.
for that.
How many women in this particular category, and how many women overall?
So in this category, I am the only woman.
I expected that. And generally, are women popping
I
up?
think it's about 46% that's women.
That is significant.
It's huge. It's
Okay.
huge. We're very proud of that.
Okay. And again, let's call it the contestants
Yes.
in this category. Who are they? Where are they from?
So I'm against a guy called Richmond. He is from Ghana. So he is.
What industry? Is this the steel industry still?
So he's in manufacturing.
Okay.
So as far as I understand, I get serious imposter syndrome. So I've been trying my best to not Google him. Because I don't really actually want to know what I'm up against. But he is, from what I understand, he's one of the founders of the Dawa Industrial Zone in Ghana.
That's significant.
Yes.
Okay. And the other contestant? Or is he
No,
not
it's just me.
significant?
It's just me and Richmond.
Oh, I thought you said there were three in this.
No, there's only
just
two
the
of us.
Two of you. And how do you rate your chances?
I think I won the voting category portion of the vote. So there was voting that went
Who
public.
votes?
the public went votes.
So you mobilize your constituency effectively.
Exactly.
Well
exactly.
done, girlfriend.
So I think that I've won that. That's 20% of the final score. So I hope I have a bit of an edge there.
And tell me about the judges and the other criteria that's going to apply in order for you to take it.
Yeah. So there are, I think, there's 7 judges from around Africa. So the head of the jury is the managing director of Telkom Kenya. There are various other people. The Southern African jury member is a creative director of Goodwill Changemakers. It's Ashley Mafawa. So there's about seven judges, and then
is there something that you submit to them for evaluation, and then they decide?
Yeah. So the nomination was quite involved. So somebody nominates you. You're not allowed to self-nominate. But there was quite a lot of questions that were asked in the nomination.
So you're going to answer it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. So the person who nominated you had numerous questions to ask. We had to then submit some supporting documentation. So everything from passports to tax information, and then they went through a bit of a vetting process. So there was a bit of investigation that was done to make sure that the information that was submitted was actually correct. And then there was also a round of interviews. So we sat on a panel interview where it was basically a fast track interview, 10 to 15 minutes. And
would it be industry-related questions that they ask you, or is it just general kind of business
No,
questions?
It was general business questions. So it was more just about clarifying something that they weren't sure of. So the question I got asked was, how do you manage to do everything that you do?
You're financial director. You would report to the CEO.
Yes.
Who's the CEO? Family member?
Yes.
Is that your dad?
No, it's my brother.
Your brother?
Yes.
Okay. And he's also a young person, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. So new energy at the Keegor Group.
Yes.
And your interests, are they purely in steel?
No, so I have a few things that I do. So
as part of Keegor Group?
No, not as part of Keegor Group. So Keegor Group, what we do is we manufacture equipment and consumables for the precious metal mining industry.
Yeah.
So we're based, not based, but we supply all over the world, literally everywhere except the Antarctic and the Arctic.
How big is the business? Is there a quantum?
We're over 100 million rand, so we're not small, but we're not huge.
I got you. And the other stuff that you're dabbling with?
So we're busy looking at expanding internationally. So my brother and I are quite heavily involved with that at the moment. I am also the leader of the Johannesburg chapter of the Women's Business Club.
Are you saying expanding markets?
No, we're in the process of opening offices internationally.
Okay.
So we've realized that
manufacturing spaces.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where would you be eyeing?
At this point, we are looking at a head office in the UK. And
you're going to produce there?
Probably not.
Cost of labor is going to be an issue.
Yeah. But what we're trying to do is trying to distribute easier. So especially with the logistics issues that we've experienced over the last few years, we realized that being on the other side of the world from people is not always the best thing. So we're trying to make it easier for our customers to get what they want.
The world is shrinking, but somehow there's always a traffic jam outside this port. I can't understand it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and your insight. It's been a generational insight into a young leader, financial director, Michelle Austin. We wish you all the best. We have no doubt you're going to be super successful with the kind of philosophy that you've shared with us today.